We're live on twitch.tv/Dkayed, and there is a new ban list for the OCG. But Dkayed, who cares about that? I care about just Master Duel and TCG. You should care more about the OCG ban list than the TCG one if you care about Master Duel, because this one is made by the people who make the Master Duel ban list. The TCG ban list, the TCG stuff they do has nothing to do with the inner workings of Master Duel. The balance, the ban list, what game modes get added, what future cards get added. TCG's got nothing to do with it. So this is a peek into the future of what's going to happen to Master Duel, very likely. And we definitely saw that with cards like Adventure. The Adventure cards, not hit in TCG, but Konami didn't care for Master Duel. They hit them up. They hit up these cards because they were hit in OCG. So that's a really good example of the TCG and OCG being a lot different from each other. Now, without further ado, let's hop into the ban list. Boom. Very good. We optimized this for my reacting, and anyone who else wants to react to this, we got it one by one. This is the OCG ban list. We're going to start with Unlimited, and before we go into this, I should let you know that this ban list is going to be influenced by the YCS that happened in November. I think that's going to be, there's 3,000 players, it was a best of one. I'm sorry if you don't like that kind of format. That's what Konami's official format is for their YCS is 3,000 players, best of one. Even the grand finals was best of one. And if we look at the breakdown of the decks, Flaundery's got first place. So you may think that Flaundery's barrier statue is banned in Master Duel because of Master Duel, but I reacted to this tournament before it got banned in Master Duel, and I said on my react, I said that because of this getting first place, it's gonna get barrier statue banned in Master Duel, and that's exactly what happened. Was I right, maybe, or was I just lucky? So this is gonna be what the format's based off of, what they're gonna hit. There's a lot of Kashtira, there's a lot of Tearlaments, and oh look, a pure runic deck. Let's hop into the ban list now based off of that, and we'll look at the decks that it impacted. Newly Unlimited. ABC Buster Dragon. Let's zoom in a little bit more. The Buster Dragon is now at 3 in TCG, 3 in OCG, and at 2 in Master Duel. It recently went to 2 in Master Duel, but now that it's at 3 in OCG, we could maybe expect this to go to 3. Why should you care about this? You should care about this because my camera's actually blocking this a little bit. Let me put the news in front of my camera. I think that'll be better. We're doing this live, so please forgive me. Hold on, let me move this. Here we go. Hold up, it's moving, it's moving, it's moving. Please don't break. Okay, there we go. Awesome. Now, you're gonna care about this because next month, Therion's coming. Therion is gonna make ABC a lot better. So if you like to play Chad machines that got some negates on them, ABC Dragons got the quick effect to get poppin', get banishing. So that's gonna be very good. Quick effect, discard a card, target a card in the field, banish it. You like these highlights? Log into the website, turn them on for yourself. It's optional. Now let's move on to the next one. So I would like to see this happen. Double Iris Magician from 2 to 3. Now it's at 3 in every format besides Master Duel. And if we were to click on this card in Master Duel, the Pendulum deck is actually doing very well. Pendulum Magician, if we go into the tier list right now, I think it's at tier 2 right now. It's dominating. Oh, DK, that's just your events. Actually, you are completely wrong. If I were to scroll down to the decks that it's being used in, that's a community tournament. The Third Eye Weekly, I don't run that. The Damage Step, I don't run that. The whatever this Asian tournament is, I don't run that. I do run this one, but you see all the other tournaments it's topping tournaments left and right, and they might give it a further boost. So that's very cool to see. Water Enchantress, they may free up Water Enchantress. Interesting. OCG now has Water Enchantress at 3, but there's further context you need with this. Don't get too excited. Konami Japan still hates the Water Enchantress Adventure Engine, and I'm gonna show you, if you didn't know, the Griffin. Griffin is banned, so don't get excited. So Konami thinks that Water Enchantress is okay at 3 if Griffin is at 0. So you know what? Master Duel might just stay the same. I don't think that anything will probably even happen based off of this, but that's cool to see. Okay. Scales. So what happened here was when DPE came out alongside the adventure cards, Phantom Knights dominated Japan so much more in Japan than in TCG, where TCG never really saw Torn Scales as a problem. But in Japan, they had to clap this card up. I think it was limited to 1, then semi-limited. Now they're freeing it completely because new meta, new cards, it's not as much of a problem. So let's keep on going. Eldlich, I guess, yeah, Eldlich is completely free in Japan. Now, if we look at Eldlich in our side of the woods, Conquistador still at 1. Okay, the Cursed Outland is still semi-limited. And I don't know, what do y'all think? Is it time to semi-limit Conquistador, at least slowly move up? I feel like this deck is not as much of a problem. Did you know that we have a Floodgate filter? And if you didn't know, that Konami was like, hold up, actually the Floodgates are probably the problem because they've been semi-limiting Skill Drain, semi-limiting Rivalry, semi-limiting Anti-Spell Fragrance, semi-limiting Gozen Match. So if they do more limits on Floodgates, maybe they could give us back Conquistador as they are further unrestricting Eldlich. You may not like to hear this, but new players need to be able to come into Yu-Gi-Oh!, even modern Yu-Gi-Oh!, and enjoy the game, and a deck like Eldlich is a good deck for a new player to play and get in, get clap in, and then they could transition from there. I'm sure a lot of people have stories where they came in with Eldlich, and they're coming out with Spiral or Phantom Knight, whatever else you may hate also. Get ready? Newly semi-limited now, semi-limited. Galatea. So I do think Konami does use Master Duel as a tool to also test out changes. They get to see what's going, and I think it goes for all the formats actually. They see that the Galatea in Master Duel at 2, it didn't really do that much. So they're like, why not put it in our format also? Now compared to TCG, OCG, and Master Duel, in Master Duel, they got daily duels, thousands of duels every day. They have so much analytics to really track what these ban list changes are doing to then further improve the other games of Yu-Gi-Oh! And that seems, there you go. All right, let's move on. Swap Frog. What the hell? It is semi-limited. What is going on with the Frog? Well, it's all about the Sprite. Sprite is what got the Frog semi-limited. And also, Totally Awesome is banned. So Swap Frog, you always got to think Totally Awesome, which is limited to 1 for us, banned in OCG, and it's banned because of Sprite. And Sprite is coming in 3 to 4 months. 3 to 4 months. I got to close my eyes to think about the months. Yes, all right? Because next month's going to be Dinomorphia and Therion. The second month is going to be Exosister, Rika, Mathmech. It's going to be crazy. They're all going to be really good decks. And then on the third month, we're going to get Sprite, which is going to make Totally Awesome a problem. Do you think they could preemptively ban Totally Awesome for Sprite? Should they? I don't think they should. What the hell? Let's keep on going. Kagari, further unrestricting the Sky Strikers. I don't really see Sky Striker as a problem in Master Duel. I don't really see anyone complaining about them, and they have a really strong fan base of people that love the deck. Very nice. And they also love the manga. Not that that's relevant. And if we look at the limits, I guess this is something you could expect to happen in Master Duel. They recently unlimited Widow Anchor. That was a good change, which did not change too much. They might keep the Hornet Drones at 1 because the Engage in Hornet Drones is what's really techable in other decks. I think they're okay with buffing an actual Sky Striker deck, but once you start putting the Sky Striker cards into other decks, they don't want every deck to feel like they should tech in some kind of Sky Striker engine for Link Shokanen. So it's Kagaria too, they're being careful with it, nice and slowly, and they'll see what happens with this, and they might do it in Master Duel. That's a good thing to see. Yatagarasu, they saw that it did nothing in TCG. So they do pay attention, even though Konami Japan doesn't really run TCG, they do get to peek at them and see that Yata did nothing. If you don't know that, if you attack directly with Yata and your opponent has no cards in their hand, you win. It's auto win because they skip their draw, then you just attack them every turn. You basically skip their turn. And this was, back in the day, a world champion card. Good enough to be banned. So why not try it at 2? Why not? Why not? Rite of Bear's Mirror, again, under the context of Griffin being banned, they are lessening the restriction from 1 to 2. So not too much could really be seen or expected of what would happen with Master Duel with this. Let's move on. Infernity Launcher. Get launching. So OCG is going to be the one paving the way for unrestricting the launcher. So now TCG and Master Duel is going to have to quietly wait and see what happens in Japan. And if nothing happens in Japan with Infernity Launcher over the next month, we could definitely expect this to happen in Master Duel. I didn't know this, but apparently Infernity has a new support that I thought was pretty cool, if I could even remember what it is. I think it's a trap. I don't even know. I have no idea. But I think that there's some kind of Infernity negate that I don't even remember what it is, but that would be cool to see. I think maybe it's this one. I have no idea. Yeah, I think this is a new card that I didn't have back in my day, and it would be cool to revisit Infernities with it being buffed. Because otherwise, I don't think the deck's been doing anything. We have some Infernity Chads here. Some Chad Will. It's all Will. It's Will. Will in April, June, and June. Will's the only one playing Infernities, and also this Chad. So yeah, I would like to see for Will to get more support for his deck. Foolish Burial Goods. Interesting. Wow, they are restricting it. So Foolish Burial Goods went from 3 to 2. To get the context on this, we would have to look at the latest Japanese YCS and see what's been abusing it. So if we go to this YCS, oh crap, okay, yeah, no, we're not getting spoiled anything. Very good. So Flandre's got first, Labyrinth got second. Do we have any Foolish Burial Goods in this YCS? So this is also going to be showing us why other cards are getting hit. Kashtira Tearlaments, probably going to get hit by the OCG, but as long as I don't hover over it, it won't show. So why is Foolish Burial Goods hit? I don't see any decks really running it. What do y'all think? Why'd it go from 3 to 2? What do you think? You tell me. Maybe future support? They're about to release a new deck type that's going to be broken. I guess they kind of did it for Tearlaments because you could send a Tearlament trap and the Tearlament trap. Oh, maybe. I think I know why. Maybe they hit Tearlaments and Foolish Burial Goods would be able to send the trap that would search for a monster. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you could search for a Tearlament monster, and if they want to hit the Tearlaments, they don't want you all to then rush on over to Foolish Burial Goods to make up for the restrictions. That's probably why. That's probably why they are having the future foresight of what you're going to do after being restricted. So we'll keep on going. Raigeki, what? What the, come on. How, they said F that? They changed their mind on Raigeki? No way. Why? From 3 to 2 in their YCS, was anyone Raigekiing? Are you freaking kidding me? Konami just said, literally, Raigeki is too good. The last time Konami said Raigeki's too good was maybe 20 years ago. Was Yu-Gi-Oh! Happening in 20 years ago? I think so. This deck only had 2 Raigeki. Come on, really? They gotta be cooking up some new deck type that loses to Raigeki. I can't even, really, that's not cool, not cool. Trickstar Light Stage is gonna get further unrestricted, which had already happened to us, and if you don't know what this card does, then exactly, that's the case, that it got unrestricted in Master Duel and you still don't know what this card does because no one's using it still. It's good for searching for a Trickstar to use your extra deck with your other decks. You're not really using a Trickstar deck with this. I mean, you could, but it supports other decks being able to counter back row, which maybe with the prevalence of Labyrinth, if it were to be even better than it is when it gets its new support, that this card would become more popular maybe. So that only then will you see more of this. So counters back row and searches Trickstars that could special summon. Now, limited to 1. Now we're getting to the spice. This is the new deck type, Kashtira. Kashtira is all about banishing your opponent's cards face down. Generally, that's the main way to be playing them with the extra deck and all that good stuff. The problem with Fenrir is that people were playing this card in non-Kashtira decks. If you control no monsters, you special summon this, and then if your opponent activates a monster effect or you declare an attack with this card, you get to target a face-up card your opponent controls, banish it face down. So people were playing this in TCG and OCG in non-Kashtira decks, and it searches itself also. During the main phase, search a Kashtira monster. Normally when a monster searches a monster, it says, search for a monster except itself, but they forgot to add this on this card. Probably a big reason why they now have to limit it to 1. This also makes me think about when they release new deck types, what if they purposely release a card that they plan on already limiting? Do you think of that? I think of that they're like, we're gonna release this card, but it's already gonna be limited before we know it's gonna be too good and we plan on limiting it. So I'm thinking they should just do that. in the physical card game. They do it in Master Duel. They did it with Fusion Destiny. Fusion Destiny, they also did it with the adventure cards. So I would argue that Master Duel is more balanced than TCG and OCG because they're willing to restrict cards before they even become relevant. This might come out to us already restricted, just like the adventure cards. So very good. That's why it's used. It's used so much that TCG players are playing Ibli in just random decks just to get Ibli on their fields, just so they can't summon the Fenrir. There was another crappy monster that you summon it and you like banish it, then it comes on your opponent's side of the field just to block this from coming out because it's level 7, so you can't tribute over one monster. Now moving on. Kashtira Unicorn. So this one will search a monster. This one will search a spell. So it's kind of the opposite of this. And when your opponent activates a monster effect or this declares an attack, instead of banishing a face-up card your opponent controls face down, this will look at your opponent's extra deck and banish a monster from it face down. Very cool. Okay, very nice. Unicorn and Fenrir, both of them limited to 1. Tearlaments. Oh, we Tearlaments. And is that it for the Kashtira changes? Because if we look at this, how much of an impact did Kashtira have? We have, let's do Control F Kashtira. Kashtira. Let's go back up. So this is why they're hitting Kashtira. From the 3,000 person YCS, this is the amount of Kashitras that did well. But you could see they're being mixed with Tearlaments also, so we got to hit them too. Let's check it out. Sharon is now limited to 1. If you're unfamiliar with what's been going on, the mess has been happening. Exchange of the spirit cards. These are Shizu cards. This made a Shizu Tearlament tier 0. So they had to put this limited to 1, and they had to put this limited to 1, and they had to put Orange of Light. Orange Light to limited to 1 to try to answer Tearlament being tier 0. But then after that, they also hit a bunch of Tearlament cards too, even more than what we're seeing here. But the deck's still relevant. It's still clapping. It's eternal. Tearlament is all over the place. They're able to kill off the Sprite deck, but not Tearlament. Tearlament, this is after 2 ban lists hitting the deck and it's still being played. So there you go. This is just one of the main cards that allows you to mill cards off the top of your deck. It's just one of the main monsters. Rhinoheart also limited to 1. Are they trying to kill Tearlament? Because you'd want to wonder how good it's going to be in Master Duel and if they might preemptively hit anything. So we look at the other cards. The field spell is already limited to 1, which searches for a Tearlament. You have Rhinoheart limited to 1, so this is an older ban list. And now you have Sheeran limited to 1. They also put Havnis limited to 2. Is Merly going to be limited also? What else are they limiting? They're just limiting the entire deck. The entire deck was a mistake. And it's coming to Master Duel soon. I'm excited. Talornite Ptolemaeus. Okay. This just got unbanned in TCG, I believe. Yeah, it went to 3. And now we're going to have it in OCG and maybe have it in Master Duel. So what's cool about this card is if you can make it with 3 level 4 monsters, you're going to be able to special summon a Cyber Dragon Infernity. So now any deck that can do just 3 level 4 monsters on the field, you get to make it just like that. Omni negate, Cyber Dragon Infernity, suck up a monster, and also every turn, negate. So that's pretty much what you need to know there. Very interesting, very nice. Now let's go on to the next one. Bystials. Bystial has been a main way to counter Tearlament. The best way to counter Tearlament is a DD Crow. When either of them activate in the graveyard from being sent to the graveyard to fusion summon, they have to fuse using themselves. And if you DD Crow them, then they can't fuse using themselves. This one does not fuse, but this one enables a fusion. This one summons from the graveyard, also good if you DD Crow it, but it's a water, so you can't even Bystial it. All the Tearlaments are dark, so you're going to use the Bystial to banish to counter. So when I was casting the $3,000 TCG tournament with these new cards, Bystials were the main way to counter the Tearlaments. So this is good. This would be supporting the Dragon Link deck, and Dragon Link is also an eternal deck that just never dies. It's a cockroach deck, but I like it. It's a fun deck. So, okay, limited to 6, limited to 1, that is. This one is being teched into a lot of people's decks. A lot of non-Bystial decks are playing this. So maybe Konami is looking at cards that are being teched into non-Bystial decks a lot, like this one, and just restricting it. So very good. If special summon, you can activate this effect to add a dragon from your deck or graveyard to your hand. So what's interesting about this, what's funny is people were playing other Bystial monsters in their deck, not this one. Then they would summon Dark. They would summon Dark to steal the opponent's monster. And when you steal the opponent's monster that's Magnemite, let's spell Dark correctly. There we go. If you summon Dark to steal their opponent's Magna, you then search for the other Bystial you teched in your deck. That's what people were doing. All right, let's look up. Ooh, Cloak. 1/2/1 in TCG, and I don't think it's doing anything, right? And they see that it's doing nothing, so they're going to then boost it up in OCG. I don't have too much commentary on this besides it is a 1-card Anaconda, right? Summon it. You link it off, and then it will summon a token, then link the token into like a link spooter, and then you're popping. Okay, right? No Kashtira and Hulk, so it's not as much of a problem. It was more of a problem with Kashtira and Hulk, but Anaconda, not a big deal. Verte banned in Japan, by the way. Yeah, we're the only one with Anaconda. So is it a problem? We have other ways to 1-card make an Anaconda, and Anaconda's not too much of a problem. Change of art. They see that TCG's mostly been using this in the side deck, I believe. Mostly side decking. Some people main decking it. It's not having a massive impact. It's take control until the end of the turn. Kind of like a mind control, but with no restrictions. And when you take control of the monster, okay, nice to see. It could come to Master Duel and not really do anything. Now, is Kashtira. More Kashtira hits. It's so weird to see a deck that's not even out for us yet getting clapped up, getting slapped. Is that a mistake from Konami, or did they already have internally that, okay, we already plan on limiting these cards, it's had its time to shine, we're now limiting them, and then when it comes to Master Duel, we may preemptively limit them. This will activate search for a Kashtira monster. The monster and the spell searcher ones have been limited, and this one too. And this is also allowing you to pop cards in the field, so giving more versatility to the deck to deal with floodgates and all that nonsense. Whoa. Branded Fusion. Branded Fusion. They do not like Branded Fusion over in OCG land. What the? Limited to 1. That's spicy. I don't know. That makes me afraid that they might semi-limit it in Master Duel, which I don't think they should do despite it being tier 1, because Sprite and Tearlaments are coming out soon. Sprite and Tearlaments are coming out in 3 months. But maybe Konami might be thinking for Master Duel, 3 months is too long to have Branded Fusion at 3 in Master Duel when they have it limited to 1 in OCG. And this is also with Branded Opening being hit too. Branded Opening, I think, is the only other hit for Japan. Yeah, oh, it's limited to 1. They really do not like Branded. The people who run Master Duel do not like Branded, but they just gave us a Branded structure deck. They like the money it makes them, but they don't like the deck. Oh boy, did they just bait everyone? They did not just release a structure deck to then nerf it later. Holy crap, I don't think so. Let's see. Ancient Fairy Dragon, unfreaking banned. Now, Ancient will be receiving an errata in the OCG alongside its change. It needs to be changed. They need to change this card to release it. Let's read this. Okay, right now it is once per turn. That's a soft once per turn. So if you even have it limited at 1, if it leaves the field, then you reborn it, then you can activate it again. And what it essentially does is the main part of the effect, I think that's the most broken part, is you're popping a field spell to search for a field spell. So think about the runic field spell. If this were to pop the runic field spell, search another runic field spell, then you get to activate the other runic field spell because it's a soft once per turn just like this. And that's a card that there's a lot of abused combos. It also has the effect to special summon a level 4 lower monster from your hand. So very good, both soft once per turns. And it looks like they just made them hard once per turn. The whole thing about hard once per turn is kind of a new concept. The older Infernity cards didn't have hard once per turns. Back in my day, even further back in my day, I think 2010 and before, no card really had a hard once per turn. It was, if you could get that card out twice, then good on you. Go activate it twice. Go ahead. And then we had problems with that with cards like Infernity Barrier, not that it would be hard once per turn today, you would set 3 of these and it's like, well, holy shite. And then the launcher is also a problem because you just keep looping the launchers, and that's the hard once per turn not really existing was a big deal. So they just added hard once per turn to this. And okay, they actually did something else too. Add a field spell from your deck to your hand with a different name than what you destroyed. So before, you could pop a Runic Fountain, search a Runic Fountain. Now you cannot pop Runic Fountain, search Runic Fountain. You have to search for a different field spell. You cannot loop the field spells anymore, and it's hard once per turn. And now they could finally free this up a bit. So this errata will happen in Master Duel eventually soon, and then they'll probably give it to us also. Okay. Newly forbidden. We are forbidding. Oh my God, really? This seems like overkill. This is overkill. This is the main fusion of Tearlaments. You make this, it's the first fusion you're going to make every time. And you can make this fusion also on your opponent's turn. It will trigger fuse into something bigger and better during your opponent's turn, a Dragostapalia or an even bigger boss monster. It sets up your deck. It searches a Tearlament or sends a Tearlament to trigger its effects in the graveyard. It also has a combo with Merly on your own turn. You're going to be able to mill 8 cards. So it consistently, you're milling 8 cards. If you're able to make this, you could search Merly, then send this to the graveyard, summon Merly, and then Merly's the one that's going to mill 3, and this will mill 5 in the graveyard. So they don't like the mill 8 combo and also searching or sending any card in your deck. Wow. Does that kill Tearlament? Does that actually kill them? Limited to 1, limited to 1, limited to 1, banned, and semi-limited. Holy shite. Have you ever seen Konami hate a deck more than this? What deck is more banned than this? I guess Dragon Rulers are kind of super banned, right? This is a really banned up deck. If I were to compare this to Sprite, did Sprite get banned this badly? We have, what cards even got hit? Limited to 1 Jet. I think the starter also got hit. Limited to 1 starter, and that's it. So their starter and Jet got hit to 1, and Tearlaments got 5 cards hit. So it hit a lot more than Sprite, and it wouldn't be fair to also not mention Totally Awesome, which also is a part of why it got hit because of Sprite. Okay, so 3 cards for Sprite, 5 for Tearlament, but then there are Shizu cards got hit, so it's like 6, 7, 8. 8 cards got hit because of Tearlament, I'd say. Barrier Statue. Yes, I stand by that this YCS, this 3,000 person YCS, I watched it. It was embarrassing. We watched him summon a barrier statue, and he was playing against a deck in the top 4. I think it was a Dark World deck. Let's see if I could find it real quick. It was actually top 8. It was this one. It was a danger deck, and he just had no play. Actually, it wasn't this one. My bad. Where is it? I don't even know where it is. There was some kind of Dark Lord deck up in here, and he passed all his turns. Every turn he did nothing. And the casters, I think it was awkward for them. Obviously, I don't speak Japanese, and there was no subtitles, but they had nothing to commentate. The dude had barrier statue, and the opponent in a best-of-1 tournament just kept drawing and passing. And best-of-1, not game 2, not game 3. The whole game's over. So the dude made 0 plays, and then the game was over. And then Konami's like, yeah, we got to get rid of this. And the dude had 2 also, and I did see him summon 2. That was disgusting. Really not cool. Not cool whatsoever. What the hell? So I'm glad that YCS was probably the main reason why it got banned in Master Duel and thus banned in OCG. That YCS did happen before the Master Duel ban. And now the full changes. Very good. Holy crap, this is a really long video. I don't know. Let me know if you like these long videos, or I could try to make them shorter. I want to give good context for why these cards are hit and look at the YCS and how well the decks are doing. So here are the full changes all on the screen. Screenshot this, very good. And we could expect a lot of similarities to this ban list and what's gonna happen in Master Duel. And the final context I'll give right here. Let's control F Tearlaments. F for Tearlaments. Lots of Tearlaments, lots of Kashtira. They both got hit, they both got clapped up. And I found out why we're playing Card of Demise and Pot of Duality in Master Duel. I completely missed this. I did not know that in this YCS, the deck list that people are mostly playing in Master Duel for Runic and even topped my tournament, hey look, it's right there. Oh my God, it was there all along. And literally, if I click on Drowning, you're like, oh, no one's playing Drowning Mirror Force. So already I click on this, and then Drowning Mirror Force. Look at that. Looks like, where'd you get that deck from, Killian? Huh? Where'd that deck come from? Joe Budda. Oh, Joe Budda not playing that. Look at that. Look at that. It's like it's the same deck. It's the same deck. And people are playing similar to this. So, Killian, good on you, though. I'm glad you did your research, and that's very cool. I appreciate all of you, and that is the OCG ban list review. Let's go.